First, we are paying Congo. The NRM leaders are not only accused of stealing from their people, they are also accused of stealing from neighbors. One such a neighbor that has fallen victim to the NRM leaders' stealing habits is the Democratic Republic of Congo. During the 1997-98 invasion of Congo, senior NRM leaders helped themselves with Congolese women, timber, gold, and other minerals. They were also accused of recruiting and deploying Congolese children as soldiers. Congo took Uganda to the International Court of Justice, and since judges there are not cadres, Uganda lost the case, and after a lot of pleading, we were ordered to pay for our crimes. We have since 2021 been emitting billions annually. Paying Congo is part of Uganda's public debt servicing. The NRM government has included in this budget that you are passing 260.4 billion, which will be paid to DR Congo.
Honorable Ssemujju, would it hurt you if you say the government rather than specifying NRM government?
Madam Speaker, you didn't ask the Honorable
Just government.
You also didn't ask the main report because they are saying they are implementing NRM manifesto. For them, you are not stopping them. So why does it become a problem?
I never heard them talk about it. I never
it is
heard
in the
them
report,
talk
main
about
report on all pages. They are referring to NRM manifesto, NRM what?
Madam Speaker, the document the colleague is presenting here is going to remain on the Hansard of this Parliament for posterity. For him to begin to assume and allege and insinuate that it is the NRM government which entered to plumber Congo is one thing, Madam Speaker, we beg for your indulgence. The NRM political party as an organization has its own secretariat. The NRM government, which we want to confirm.
But by the way, NRM did not go and steal from Congo.
That is what I'm coming to that. So I would actually want to go on a point of order. Why am I on a point of order? Is it in order for Honorable Ssemujju to insinuate as if it is the NRM which entered Congo as NRM and plundered Congo as is alleging? Because, Madam Speaker, I am here to ask us to go on record and state facts. And also, Madam Speaker, I've been listening to the words of the Minority Report. The language being used, but it's unparliamentary, with due respect. And now I wish some of the content in this report is expanded, because it is entirely unparliamentary for us to continue allowing a colleague to read such a report. I have just passed through here, and you're going to continue seeing the content which he has put in there. Madam Speaker, is Honorable Ssemujju in order to continue insinuating as if it is the NRM government which entered and plundered the Congo as is alleging? Is he in order?
Honorable members, if there was a theft, which you're saying it was there, it must have been by individuals. It's not by NRM government. And when you talk about the age, from the time, age is golden. Actually, you should even pray that you also become that old. It is just fair for you to say government is paying this money for the acts of other people.
Madam Speaker,
because now,
Madam Speaker, I have not said the NRM government. I have actually said NRM leaders. You only needed to be careful. I didn't say NRM government. And if you are careful, I am going to tell you those NRM leaders in the subsequent paragraphs.
Yes, please.
But here, this is abuse of our rules. I am presenting a report. The NRM government has included 260.4 billion in the coming financial year budget, which will be paid to DR Congo. The 260.4 billion is the last of the 5 installments The last installment will bring the final figure to shilling 1.2 trillion. Can you imagine? Those who enjoyed Congolese women and gold are known and are there, but we are all being ordered to pay. And Honorable Gwanga is not one of them. This money should have been paid by government officials.
So you say they are paying because they enjoy.
But you wanted names. I'm going to give you names. You are
please, the word enjoying women, is that parliamentary? Let's be realistic. What do you mean? And even you're here saying, hey, is it parliamentary for you colleagues?
Honorable.
No, please, let's be realistic.
Honorable Ssemujju.
Yes.
Is this money paid because they enjoyed the women or what?
You see,
and you have to pay for enjoyment.
You see, Madam Speaker, the trouble is that when budget is brought here, it is brought together with 21 documents. I think the Honorable Gwanga is listening to the budget for the first time. And I want to ask him to first listen, because you will not be quarreling for every paragraph that I read. The money should have been paid by senior government officials named in the Pradering of Congo, such as Lieutenant General Severino Kaindo Tafire and General Karebu Akandonao. General Museveni said for him the only thing he took from Congo during the period of the war was a stick.
I have seen the outstanding private sector credit loans that are in private sector hands is 25.4 trillion. Compare this to the total outstanding government public domestic debt at 67. This means that government accounts for 84% of the outstanding private credit loans, and the private sector just 16%. And then they say this economy is private sector driven. The ratio of domestic debt to private sector credit is worrying the central bank. Bank of Uganda on page 29 of its December State of the Economy report observes private sector credit growth could be constrained by increased government domestic borrowing, which could crowd out private sector credit if interest rates rise in response, as well as global economic uncertainty and heightened credit risk concerns. Dr. Ezra Suruma, a senior presidential advisor, has in his latest missive warned that a country without capital should prepare itself to be producing laborers, while other people will be investing in production for export. For you will be registering companies to externalize labor, because we are all being turned into laborers. Uganda has more labor export companies than agriculture ones. If you go and in town here, you observe other people export products, we're exporting human beings. Interest on debt, domestic debt finishing our money. The NRM government will spend 33.4 trillion on debt servicing next financial year, representing 40% of the total budget. Bank of Uganda puts total budget. I don't have to repeat this. Let me go to page 31 for you to appreciate what borrowing domestically and borrowing from foreign sources means. The first table, this is external debt. Uganda's external debt is at 57.6 trillion. But the interest that we pay on that debt is 1.3 trillion. Domestic debt at 67, the interest we pay is 12.5 trillion. So anyone sensible would want to go and borrow externally. But I'll explain you why NRM is running away from. So below are the sources of borrowing. I want to go to page 32, budgeting high interest rate payment of ending the law. The NRM government has budgeted to pay 12.4 trillion interest on domestic debt, which is offending the Charter for Fiscal Responsibility and therefore the Public Finance Management Act. The Charter for Fiscal Responsibility sets 12.5% as the threshold of interest payment to revenue correction. This should be about 5 trillion. Instead, the NRM government has included in the budget 12.2 trillion for interest payment on domestic debt, representing 30% of projected revenue correction. So this offends the law. The colleagues can read the rest. I go to domestic borrowing causing unemployment. I have already referred to this. I don't have to overemphasize it. Now I go to page 33. NRM now wants to borrow from your mother. The NRM seems to have exhausted the domestic financial market. They are in final stages of developing an app that will allow them to borrow from your mother in the village. They want operators of mobile money platforms to develop them an app that will allow ordinary people to buy government security. All NRM innovations are about borrowing. They want to stretch their hand and begin to directly pick money from your grandmother's pocket. That's what this app means. Let the minister deny that they have not instructed those companies to develop it. NRM brutality affecting external funding. Parliament should take note that 13.5% of funds required to finance the budget will be raised through external borrowing and through budget support. The beauty with external financing is that most of the loans obtained through this measure are concession. Of course, there are semi-concession loans like those of China and commercial banks below the total of what they will borrow externally for the budget next financial year. I have already spoken about the dangers of our debt. I now want to go to the budgets. I will summarize this. We've been here 5 years. We have passed 5 budgets. If you look at that table, those budgets represent in 5 years revised budget. When you include all the supplementaries, we have appropriated 324.7 trillion, but actually the actual money that we have spent is 269, representing 55.3 trillion. So in the 5 years we have been here passing budgets, the 55.5 trillion was not there to be spent. They just come and tell you huge budget for you to be happy. And so page 35. There is money for donation and no money for ambulance and new curriculum. This parliament must take note that the budget committee, since the recent events, has failed to recommend the movement of money from wasteful and suspicious expenditure to critical requirements. You needed to have been in the committee and see the fidgeting of NRM MPs. They can't even touch a comma because of what happened to Parliament. So as a result, for example, Minister of Health asked for 60 billion to buy ambulances, but has been given only 40. So some of your constituencies will have no ambulance. The minister wants to buy 158 ambulances for your constituencies. Health also asked for 20 billion for maintenance of ambulances, but has been given 10 billion. I saw the vice chair presenting and is very happy. So it means some constituencies, your ambulances will not be maintained. Because maintenance is 20 billion, they have given you 10 and you are saying you kill up. That's what the vice chair said. Kill up for 10. Let us remove 30 billion from State House, since the president has 130 billion for donation, and buy these ambulances and maintain them for the rest of the country. There is no money for the new curriculum. The National Curriculum Development Center has asked for just 6 billion to develop syllabuses of 32 subjects of A-level curriculum, assessment, guidelines, and training of teachers, but only 2.5 billion has been given. This is scandalous. Our children are being taught on guesswork because development of the A-level curriculum has not been concluded. Uganda National Examination Board has asked for 8 billion to train examiners on how to mark these new syllabus, but they have been given 0. What crime has Uganda committed against the NRM and its leadership? When the IMF and World Bank are saying children who are in school today, their productivity level will not go beyond 39%. The world average is 50%. Why are we condemning our children? Trouble is that their children don't attend school here. We now ask you to look at the annex that outlines unfunded priorities. It comes as an annex. So you can't find 6 billion for curriculum. And then you have 130 billion for donation. And the vice chair is asking NRM MPs, kill up. Your children are in secondary schools and children of the people you represent. No money for curriculum. Look at the human resource in public health facilities. We have just lost a colleague here, Honorable Nachimuri. There are people advising her to go to public facilities. Collectively, we want to find out whether it was negligence or incompetence. Let us also think about the thousands of people we represent who go to these public facilities and find no human resource. The Health Committee reported this scandal to this Parliament. We discussed it in the Budget Committee, but NRM MPs have feared to recommend movement of money to finance these critical requirements. And please, I invite you to look. This table is from your committee. I saw the majority committee. Our work was to go and reconcile and consolidate. There is nothing they have consolidated in the main report. What they have done is actually to massage the budget. In fact, in the future, this Parliament, you don't waste your time because they are making no recommendation apart from saying you pass the budget. I don't know why they are wasting your time. As soon as the Honorable Musasi tabled the estimates, you should have said aye. But we even went to a hotel to consolidate, but there was no consolidation. Look, this table, the referral hospitals, and I will go through some of them because some of you are clapping. Your health facilities have no human resource. Entebbe approved 1,195. They have only recruited 260. The human resources are 21.8%. And the Vice Chair says, crap. Guru, I hope there is nobody from Guru who has signed the majority report and is crapping. The hospital approved staff 1,273. Filled 380. The hospital is operating at 29.8%. And they are urging you, get up. Fort Portal, the regional referral hospital, 1,157. That's the approved staff. The ones recruited so far, 295. They are operating at 26%. They say don't touch the budget, as if this budget is for one person. I don't have to read the entire list. Just look for your area before you get up and approve. Now I go to page. There are the table on 38. The table on 38 is showing you these projects. There is no money to complete them. They are there, white elephants. And Honorable ACI. This is page 38, page 39. Then we go to outstanding area on page 39. And I don't have to go through them because they didn't want to touch even a comma. Said we were in trouble. The man said, don't touch our budget. So I have helped you to consolidate. It's entirely up to you to pass or not. This is a status and analysis of areas. All these hospitals are in debt. They can't pay electricity, they can't pay pension, they can't pay salary, they can't pay water. And this information was brought to the committee to consolidate. Maybe the Honorable Esiagi and his deputy, you should ask them after, tell you to point to a particular page where they consolidated anything. And the recommendations are there. Human resource in public health facilities. This one, you will forgive me, is being repeated. The road infrastructure on page 43. I don't have to repeat them. I already captured them. I now want to go. So these ones are repeated. For page 46, I already referred to it. You go to page 48. I have just about 2 pages to finish. The Honorable Musasi was here. He said this is Artemis, Minno development. In the budget framework paper, the Honorable Musasi proposed a budget of 1.6 trillion for extractive industry development. 1.6 trillion in the budget framework paper. Then when he left, he removed it. What has been brought today for you to pass is 435 billion. Not even what he brought in the budget framework paper. And he says the NRM manifesto as guided by the president. Please clap. Colleagues, you can clap. I am concluding now. Page 48. The UBOS, in their latest report on what they call multidimensional poverty, because they are not only measuring income, they are looking at people's capacity to pay for hospital if they are fallen sick, the number of years they are in school, access to toilet facilities, And this is how they have summarized Uganda, and that's my summary. In Karamoja, people are suffering from multidimensional poverty. There are 91% in Karamoja. People suffering from multi-dimensional poverty. The vice chair comes from there, he says, crap. West Nile, people are suffering from multi-dimensional poverty, who can't go to school, have no access to toilet facilities. It is 73%. I am waiting to see if there is anyone from Western area who is going to crap. This is information from UBOS. Multidimensional poverty. That's where we are after 5 years. So the rest you can read about yourself. Sebei, multidimensional poverty, you are at 67%. These are people. Busoga is at 59, as usual. 60% of Busoga are suffering from multidimensional poverty. No access to improved toilet facilities, no access to energy for cooking, no access. There are 11 parameters that they measure, not just the income. So as you pass the budget, finally, I want to draw your attention to one table, the last table, which is Annex 1. So this table has the details as they came from your committees, which you asked us to consolidate, but they were never consolidated. There is a table I have skipped. I'll try human resource in public university. This is what you asked us as a budget committee to go and consolidate. But my colleagues were speaking to each other. So what do we do? No touching. And as a result, they have brought you a fake report and they're asking you to approve. I now invite you to approve a report that has items of your constituencies. Right, Honorable Speaker.
All the statements that are unparliamentary, in this report must be expunged from the report. You can now debate. What is parliamentary? He wants to go for Juba first. Yes.